Call me old man Wade.
Damn you, old man!
Wait.
Old ass man.
Shut up, old man. You smell like fart.
No!
Old man.
He's so old, he got a podcast on cassette.
Fuck, you're old.
Damn it, Wade.
And welcome to the Old Man Wade Show. I am your host, the God of Stubborn, the Lord of Laughter, Old Man Wade. And I have a special guest here with me, Houston comedian, young Houston comedian, probably the youngest person who's been on the show. So there's probably going to be a lot of references that I flat out don't get. That's going to have me looking like I'm going to need a dictionary on that and I have no idea what's going on. Tell everybody who you are.
Hi. I'm Abbey Vollman. Hopefully I don't make too many references that you don't understand, because people do that to me all the time and I don't appreciate it all the time. I'm a stand-up comedian. I live in Houston, Texas. I am actually, that's funny that you said that. I'm the youngest performing comic in Houston. There are two other people that are like my age, but both of their birthdays are before mine. So
you got the crown.
Yeah, legally I'm last.
But it works out because, again, like I said before we start recording, you're funny as shit. And I've said to Slade, anybody who's been on the Whiskey Brothers has to be quick. And it's one of my favorite things about it is it's not bold. They're these little snide comments with no emotion to them. And
they're just nonstop. They're so funny. Yeah. I adore every single one of them. I love working with them. Because it is an exercise, and nobody's gonna give you your permission to talk. You just kind of have to cut Trey off and hope that what you're saying is louder and funnier than whatever he's saying.
But it's funny because it doesn't even necessarily have to be louder, because there's been a few times where everyone will bust out laughing and he won't hear it, and then they'll have to repeat it.
I know. Because it's anywhere Trey is, it's the Trey show. I love it so much. he especially, but them all together, they're so funny. I adore working with them. They're great.
You know what it is? It's if I had to use a weapon analogy, Trey's like a machine gun. He just goes.
Yes. And he's just automatic.
And he's usually spot on. But we're not here to talk about Trey. We're here to talk about you.
So, see, Trey takes over everything. Even thinks he's not in.
So, why comedy? What got you into it? Why go there?
So as a kid growing up, my dad is an actor, so I kind of grew up around the industry already. But I did I wanted to be a Broadway actress. I wanted to do musicals. I wanted originally to go to college for that. And when it became time to audition for musical theater schools, I was like, I don't want to be this person. I don't identify with these people. And it's very weird, but I always thought I was funnier and more authentic than all of my peers in musical theater. There are a lot of copies of the same individual. And I feel when you stand out like that in those settings, you just get cast as the comic relief. So I spent all of my formative years just being the comic relief in shows and in films. Even when I started doing film, they still cast you as the comic relief. So it just made sense. And once I kind of decided, I think I'm just going to pursue comedy, it wasn't just stand-up. It was I'm gonna dip into sketch, improv, stand-up, and it just ended up working really well for me. And it just feels like it's where I belong.
So that actually makes a little more sense, because watching you or hearing you on the show, or what was it, the one you guys, Is This Thing On? It's a little more. It's funny because I wasn't expecting this from you on the podcast, but now I see it the performance you put on, you know what I mean? So you're not, I don't want to say you're playing a character, but you're kind of playing a character, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely not. Like, it's not like playing a character, but it's, you know, when you've been trained your entire life to command attention, like I'm definitely not like the most like dry, deadpan. I'm definitely theatrical, a little absurd. It's kind of, and it's more fun for me that way. That's what I like.
So you brought up musicals, and I have whenever. So my wife got me into musicals, and
Oh, hell yeah. Good for her.
the first one she put me on to was Rent, because she knows I love Rosario Dawson. So I was like, okay, so we watched Rent, and we watched a few other ones, but hands down, my favorite is Across the Universe.
Oh, that's a lovely show.
And like, I love just like the idea of people like remixing these Beatles songs. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought the redos were better than the original, because they were a little funkier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what's really cool about theater, especially, is that you can do things like jukebox musicals, like Jagged Little Pill is on Broadway right now, and
My wife
like
saw it, and don't get me started on Alanis Morissette, because my wife calls me she calls me a 14-year-old girl who loves like emo music. So.
I was listening to her the other day because I'm trying to be broke and happy. She's like, I'm broke, but I'm happy. I'm like, I don't feel that way at all. Actually, I'm really mad that I'm broke, but.
So how do you like?
No, I feel you.
You are on social media. You bring up another topic that I think is important, and something that you talk about getting over. I think you said something about body dysmorphia or just confidence in general, and
yeah,
and I'm pretty sure it wasn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world to get over that. So I think you said you're 22, right?
Yeah, I'm about to be 22, like in a couple weeks.
So you spent the last 2 years in, like, you know, in the house, when someone your age should be out partying and doing stuff like that, which I'm pretty sure from someone who knows, it doesn't do a great job for your mental health.
No, definitely not. I'm a person who, as like extroverted and like social as I am, I definitely need like a recharge, because I do have very bad anxiety, and I do constantly feel like everybody around me is that, you know, they're like, when is she going to fail? You know, everybody's out to get me. And, you know, in a way that's so dumb, because it's, you know, when you try and like zoom out, you're like, why would people ever just be sitting around thinking about you? It's just, it's definitely, being locked inside the house did not make that transition easier. Because that was like something I dealt with before. And then I feel like after, especially, there was an adjustment that needed to be made. And I was living in Los Angeles, 2 years ago, I guess now, like almost to the day. Actually 2 years ago to the day, I lost both of my jobs.
Oh.
Yeah. Because the state of California was shutting down. Like, and that was when they took away clubs and bars. And so that was comedy gone. And then I worked in a bar. So that was my job gone. And that was really difficult, especially, like, I think that was really hard for everybody, but that was also really hard for me because I was turning 20. And if anybody can, you know, remember how they felt when they were like in that transition from like being a teenager into being more of an adult, like I was freaked out.
Yeah, it's
like it was intense. It was scary, honestly.
But it's understandable because, like, you don't, and especially considering that, like, regardless of how you feel about the vaccines, it's just like people were just freaking the fuck out. They didn't know what was going to happen. How long would this last? And like you said, you lost your job. I know a few people who were just like unemployed, and people who were keeping their jobs specifically because their significant others needed health insurance.
Yep.
And so is that why you took the jump and leave to Texas?
So my family lives in Texas, and I grew up in Houston. So in my head, it was going to be more of a, hey, like my mental health isn't doing so hot. I'm going to like put some stuff in storage. I'm going to come back for a bit, and I'll just go back whenever this is all kind of done. And then I got to Texas, and this was like July 2020. And I was like, what the y'all are still doing shit? I was pissed. I was like, I just spent, I was like, I almost, I was wasting away in my room. I could have been, whatever. I'm not salty about it still, but I came back, and then it was just a constant, like, checking in with my comedy friends in LA, like, hey, how are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're still doing Zoom mics. And then I started booking shows, and I was like, y'all have fun with that.
You know what's funny about that is, though, it's like how things work out. And I swear to you, Texas is its own fucking country. It
really is.
Y'all just do whatever the fuck you want, man. And it's in some ways I'm jealous because y'all just do shit. I live in Boston, the home of racism. And
right. Okay. Well, my entire family's from Boston, so
you understand. So, but when like the mask mandate went up a little early, there's a bunch of fuck shit going on with y'all.
Yeah.
But I'm not jealous about the fact that the y'all have Canadian dude who flew over, who's now the governor of Maine, whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh yeah, no, fuck Ted Cruz, that Zodiac killing motherfucker. Yeah. So the thing, like, it's not even like I'm a perfectly liberal individual. Like, I'm fully vaccinated.
Here.
Like I had COVID. Like, we're boosted over here. But like, I lived in two cities during the pandemic that had two very different responses, and the results were the same. So it is very, very interesting how fast it spread in a place when we were like, we're not even going outside. Like, how are we still getting this virus? And then I came over here, and it was like everybody's going outside and getting the virus. So it's just very interesting. It was a lot for everybody, and it was definitely not the most fun. But once it started allowing me to like do gigs, I was not doing liberal gigs, I could say that. I started out in 2020. I was very fortunate to be able to do comedy, but I was doing it in like College Station, Texas, Bryan, Texas, Conroe, Texas. People they were legitimately like, hey, don't wear your mask in front of the booker because he might not book you again.
Oh.
And I was like, oh. Great.
So how do you, because I know in like specific businesses, like I'm a writer. Writing's my thing. I podcast because it's fun. It gets me to talk to interesting people.
Totally.
But I also know as a writer, sometimes you have to play the game. Like you have to suck up some things that you don't want to. So how do you deal with it? Like, how do you look at someone in the face and like you flat out don't respect and be like, oh yeah, you should be picking me.
Oh man, it is tough. Because part of me all the time is like, hey, like you were raised in this industry, you know how to be professional, you know how to show up, show out and like be respectful and kind and leave a good impression. And then like, especially in comedy where I meet like a lot of weenies, like the little voice in my head that's like, you're 21, you're going to live forever. Fuck this guy. Tell him that, and it's about balance. There are people that I work with very frequently who, I'm like, I could take them or leave them personally, but it's usually better to not. It depends on the situation. If they're just kind of a dickhead, then I'm just going to be like, well, they're just kind of a dickhead. I don't have to deal with them for very long. I'm going to do my show, get paid, the end. When it comes to dudes being like creepy, that's a different category, and that's when it's okay to
absolutely
say something.
So speaking of creepy guys, I gotta give.
Excellent segue.
I have been dying to talk to you about this since the first one you done. Diaper Rash.
Yes.
Please talk about that because it's so. The first time I watched it, I laughed my ass off, and I was like, "Hey, babe!" And she comes in the room. She goes, "What? Like you need to see this shit."
Oh, thank you.
And so, and again, and I want to talk about White Knights too.
Oh yes, we can always talk about those.
So I'm laughing, but so what? So explain what Diaper Rash is and
Sure.
how it came to be, please.
Sure. Diaper Rash is like a video series that I will sometimes post on TikTok, where I just vent about like stupid shit that like men have said to me or usually to my friends. And like if we have it in like a text, we'll have the screenshot and I'll show that. And I change everybody's name. I'm not like I don't change it well. Like let's be clear. I made one like and I was like, I want this guy to know that this is about him. So I made it very obvious that if he did happen to see it, he would know. But like that one was about me too. That was something he had said to me. So I can direct that conflict. But like, yeah, it's fun. People enjoy them. I enjoy making them. It's really cathartic to like shit on dudes.
I love the energy because it's like, and hi. Can I get an intro?
The Diaper Rash intro, when I say like, "Hi, I'm Abby, and welcome to Diaper Rash."
It's so great because it starts off as like this very like animated like person, and it's like, and I'm gonna shit on this person for the next 60 seconds. So sit back.
The best part is that like like from the intro, like there will be like moms in my comments being like, I thought this was gonna be about babies and like actual diaper rash. But no, so I say that the men in our lives, they act like babies, and so diaper rash is derivative from the baby thing. I think I said it because my friend, she's still dating this guy, and like he's the worst. But I think I started it because I was making fun of her boyfriend, and I like said something about like his diaper rash, and it was very funny. So I kind of kept it.
I love it. I actually went to go see if I missed any, and I didn't. I was kind of sad.
No, I haven't. I haven't made any in a second. I have some like plan. I just haven't had a second to like sit down and like film them.
And I have a few single friends, so if you want me to send you some, I will be more than happy to.
Oh, I love it. I love when people send them to me because it's very validating to know that men are stupid everywhere and to everybody.
Can I tell you that I am super happy I am out of the dating. This shit sounds awful. Like
it's not the best.
and I don't get. And I work at a hospital, and if you know anybody who works in a hospital, everyone's fucking everybody. And
yeah,
and so like
same with like restaurants.
Oh God, I bounced at a bar for a while, and I'm glad I was never single when I worked at a bar because I would have contracted hep. Babies, and I don't want. Out of all of them, the last one I want is babies, so I'm cool.
Yeah.
But and I remember you was talking about the White Knights, the guys who come in there with the I'd never treat this girl like this and da da da.
Yes.
So do you respond to them with sarcasm, or are you just kind of like, hey, yeah, go fuck yourself, or do you even just not say anything at all?
Yeah, normally, like the White Knights that show up in my comments that are like, it's usually men who will comment on a diaper rash and be like, I can't believe there are guys out there actually treating women this way. I would never do that. And you're like, all right, Chad, relax. Like you shouldn't have to brag. Like that's kind of the point is like you shouldn't have to brag about not treating women this way because the examples I'm showing are like the worst of the worst, some of the most absurd shit. So this is not a bar. You know, this is it's rock bottom what I like to showcase. And like I will normally ignore them because they are most likely looking for either attention from me or like from me to validate them so they can flirt with other girls in my comment section.
So they're essentially just like trolling for comments and like throw some bait out there and wait for someone to go, I totally agree with you, and then right to the DM.
Exactly. So like if they're gonna do that, which like I've seen it happen, there's like one on one of the videos I have where a girl does respond and like good for them, you know? But like I do my best to not condone. There is a Houston comic who purposefully white knights on all of my diaper rashes because he thinks it's funny. And every time I see him, he has a new girlfriend. So it's working.
I mean, it's one of those things where I'm not going to knock somebody for game, even if it's, to me, if it's kind of like weird and creepy. Like, you know what I mean? But like, you know what I mean?
Like the situations I showcase too are never situations where like anybody was in danger. Yeah. Like I'm not poking fun at like abuse or things like that. Like typically these are all examples of like, you know, stuff that like one night stands have said to us. The one that I had where the guy said he had like reached his peak brain performance, like that guy and I were like barely friends, but like he very clearly felt so differently. So it's things like that. Like I try to not exploit. I just try and like poke fun.
Yeah, and
if that makes sense.
It does, because I don't even think there's a fine line between exploitation and poking fun, because we've also seen people, who exploit a tragedy or exploit something.
Right.
Like if you wanted to, you could poke fun of disgusting behavior like abuse or sexual assault, which you don't do because you understand that there are certain things that you just should not make fun of. Or like, it's...
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm the person to kind of help other people through that. Like, I think that would be really cool, like, one day. But, like, I'm, like, so young, and I'm, like, I'm still just trying to, like, figure out how to, like, breathe sometimes. Yeah. So, like, I don't want to do anything that's, like, too preachy.
Yeah.
In a sense. Or, like, I know more than somebody else, especially with subjects like that, because it's so personal and it's just not, I don't want to, make fun of my friends, like getting hurt or something. That's not what I want to do.
And pardon the phrase, but you're not going to make fun of something without the consent from the person who actually is going through the specific thing.
Oh, exactly. Like I don't like get the dudes consent, but like
kind of fuck them though.
Yeah, like, exactly. So this is what I mean. Like these are not necessarily like active people in our lives. I mean, like the one I mean about my friend's baby daddy. Like he doesn't use TikTok. Like he had a TikTok account, but I blocked him and like
piece of shit though.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And so that's the other thing is like some of these men that I've made fun of, like I would turn it around. I would say it to their face too. Yeah, just be like, you are the worst. And so it's kind of fun too because my friends they feel cathartic like reading the comments and they're like, yeah, I was so justified to not like this guy. I'm like, yeah, you were. Yeah,
and sometimes you kind of do need that pump up to be like, you don't deserve this or you deserve better and things like that. Like I've been through that. Like my long-term ex before my wife, I was like just obsessed with her. I was just single forever. I wasn't having sex, and my buddies were like, "You need to cut this shit the fuck out."
Yeah,
like you need to go out and you need to go do something and da 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 da. And it was funny.
Exactly.
They were right though, and And it was funny because had I not gotten over her, I wouldn't have met my now wife.
Exactly.
Which is funny when they say never date your ex. Me and my wife met almost 15 years ago. And we've broken up, got together, got back together, and we lived together. Like, I hit rock bottom in terms of, like, my mental health. And she saw me, she got me into because she's worked in the medical field for so long that she got me into she pushed for them to put me into a proper mental facility, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to DBT, and she was there for me through DBT. And she said something to me, and it was when I was in this specific hospital, when I got visiting rights and all that other stuff, and she was just like, if I'm the problem, let me know. And it was big of her to say something like that because she was just like, if I'm the one causing the problem, I don't want to be the one that detriment to your health as much as she loved me. Thankfully, we stayed together. I was out of the hospital in like 2-3 days, then with the DBT, and it was like, all the rest is history. But it's also one of the reasons I love my wife is because she will call me out on that bullshit. Everyone needs somebody who is gonna say, "Hey, cut this shit the fuck out." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need the smooth can, and sometimes you need a slap in the face.
No, totally. It's like another thing. Like, I'm, like, my boyfriend right now, like, we broke up and then we got back together, and it was just kind of, we did that in silence because we were like, oh, people will figure it out, and like, it's none of their business, and it's like, it's cool. There are relationships that I've had that I'd be like, I don't want to experience that ever again. But like, it is good to have somebody around you, like, call you out on shit, for sure.
I want to say a couple things. One, it always kills me when people always say, like, when someone goes, "What happened?" It's like, it's none of your fucking business what happened. Like,
it doesn't fucking, like, you'll be fine if you don't know. You'll be okay.
One of the things I learned from DBT is, like, the people who care will ask how you're doing. The people who are nosy will ask what happened. And
that is what I said. I was like, all of, like, my closest friends, or like people close to me that I didn't divulge details to, because like I divulged like details to like my mom. But then like, my best friend was like, "You guys back together? Okay. Are you happy? Is he happy? Are you okay? Great." The end.
Yeah, that's the same
like,
thing, literally the verbatim what my best friend said.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But was that the flamethrower guy?
Yeah, that's my boyfriend.
Because I was like,
it's not our flamethrower. I fucking wish.
I was like, motherfucker's got a flamethrower. God damn, that's cool. And
he should have a flamethrower.
I'm scared of fire. I don't do fire. I'm Frankenstein with it. But if I would have had a flamethrower, I may have used it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So, do you have an Ask a Guy?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have an Ask a Guy?
Oh, and Ask a Guy, like a question?
Yes.
My favorite question to ask is always, or my followers, they always ask, like, where do men get the audacity? And I love seeing different dudes' takes on it.
Yes. So,
like, what do you consider audacity? Where do you...
So what does that even... Okay, because I really want to answer this question. So what does that mean? Like, where do you get the audacity? Just to exist?
Yeah, pretty much.
Where do I get the audacity? Well, when a man loves a woman or they just randomly have sex while they're cheating on who I found out was not my biological father, 9 months later, I'm born. You go through a lot of experimental phases when you're just kind of like, I'm just gonna be what everyone wants me to be, and you're unhappy. And
you accumulate it like over time.
Oh yeah, and then you start to grow and mature, and you're like, wow, I said and did a lot of fucked up stuff in my life.
Yeah.
And then you mature, and you still do a lot of fucked up immature shit, and you grow and evolve, and you grow and evolve, and that's all while having a penis. Ta-da!
Yep. There you go.
That's where my audacity comes from. It comes from learning, being a dick. Like, I say this, and I always say to my wife, because we decided never to have kids. Like, first date,
Yeah.
she goes, "You want kids?" I go, "Absolutely not." She goes, "Good, neither do I." And one of the reasons.
Hold on. Hi. Sorry, what?
And we're back. I don't really do much editing when something like that happens because of requirements.
It's okay.
Other stuff. It is what it is.
They're doing like tons of construction in my complex right now. Are they like giving us new AC units?
So I'm gonna say this because the people who run the apartment I live in are god fucking awful.
Yeah.
And so we have had lead paint that's been chipping in our kitchen for 2 years, and we have been calling them for 2 years. I just had back surgery 2 months ago. I say to them, "Hey, just give me a call so I know to get up and get near the door because it's going to take me 10 minutes to get up." They canceled the appointment.
Okay.
Your unit will be out for a few days if you need.
With special guest AC guy.
With special guests, I fucking hate renting. Yeah, your AC is gonna be off for a few days.
In Texas? Ew.
Yeah, fucking. Thank you.
I thought that was illegal.
Yes. They're putting in new units, so I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm writing titles now.
I just know it's gonna inconvenience me. That's all I know.
That sounds about right.
It's like renting and like
renting is ass.
Summed up. It is tough.
The one thing, like, we have, like, you keep seeing me wiping my face. It's 50 degrees here, but for some reason they feel the need to keep the heat on when it's 50 degrees. You don't need the heat on.
Oh, do you not control your thermostat?
Oh, no. That would make too much sense because we would keep it at 60 at all times.
Right.
Like, it's so bad, like, the windows in our bedroom stay open all year round.
Yeah. Oh, that's so tough.
Yeah. But anyway, to end the story, long story short, it was like 2 years we've been trying to get him to do this shit. Then one of the guys comes in and looks at the cabinets, and he goes, "Oh, these are like the original cabinets from when they moved, from when they built this place. So these need to be done because the shelves are slanted. So stuff keeps falling off the shelves." Then like, let's fast forward to like 3 weeks later, they send a guy with. Most people come in with measuring tape. This guy came with a ruler.
Yeah.
He came with a ruler and a protractor.
This kid is going to fucking geometry.
And I'm just like, okay. All right. So I was like, here.
I hate being in my house when maintenance people come because I'm like, I don't need to see it, okay? I pay enough to be here.
Oh,
just the less I know, the better, honestly.
I say this a lot, but my wife was going to murder this dude, the last dude who came here, because my wife was talking to him, but he kept responding to me. And I'm looking at him, and I'm kind of confused, and I'm just like, okay. And so I'm like, yeah, like my wife said, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And so later, I'm like, hey, this guy, and I didn't picture it. I didn't really see it. So she's telling me about it. And I said, okay, that is weird. I was like, but you have to yell at him. She goes, oh no, fuck that guy, because previously when I came in, he didn't respect me. I said, why the fuck didn't you say something? I would have told him to suck my dick and leave.
Yeah, for real. I had a maintenance guy come in because I have this poster of Ariana Grande right here.
Oh, next topic. I can't wait to talk about her.
I once had a maintenance guy come in. He was like, "That's you." I was like, "Are you blind?" I was like, "Yeah." That gorgeous fucking supermodel. I literally had COVID. Like, I'm standing like 7 feet away from him, like double masked, like hoodie on, looked terrible. He had the See, this is what I mean. That was audacious.
So, okay, all right. Did he... I'm going to play devil's advocate. Was he flirting, or did he generally just not know? Because maybe they don't know who the tens or maybe hundreds of $1 million pop star is.
The thing is, I've had people try and flirt with me using my love for Ariana Grande, being like, "Oh, like you're way hotter than her. You're way sexier than her." I'm like, "Nice fucking try." Just I know you're a liar. That is all that this shows me. So you're a liar. And then people are like, don't doubt yourself like that. I'm like, I'm not fucking doubting myself. The evidence is right there.
Yeah, like
I am perfectly confident in who I am as an individual and how I look. I do not look like that.
So before we get into our mutual love for Ariana Grande, I want to give a special fuck you to Idris Elba.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
Would you like to know why?
Yeah, I'd like to know why.
Because he's fucking perfect and it annoys me.
Oh, there you go. So yeah.
Like, he's tall, he's dark, he's beyond handsome. There needs to be a better word for what he is, like, in terms of looks. Like, he's got a great body. He can kickbox. He DJs. He's a fantastic actor. Like, there's really nothing he can't do. And then on top of all that, he has a British fucking accent.
I know. Not fair.
So, yes, I'm hating. I'm just going to let you know I'm a hater.
Oh, no worries.
So, Ariana Grande.
Yes.
I'm a again, I am a 300-pound, 39-year-old black guy who has an obsessive love for pop music.
Yeah.
My wife was at her. She was like, one of her coworkers was like, I have to go to this stupid Taylor Swift concert that I don't want to go to. And she goes, well, if you don't mind a big black guy going with your daughter, he'll go too.
Aww.
And like I did.
Taylor Swift was my first concert as a child.
Really? Which?
Yeah, I saw her Fearless tour, 2009.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What was I doing in 2009? I
don't know.
Probably drunk. Yeah, I think I was drunk in 2009, probably. But so what is she like? Okay, what was she like live? I'm going to get into the Ariana Grande. What was Taylor Swift?
Taylor
like
Swift?
Live? Yes.
I was 9. It was really.
Oh God.
I remember it being like really exciting. Like that was one of the. I'd never been to a concert, so I never like heard that many people in a space like cheering before.
Yeah.
I remember it being very exciting, a little overwhelming. I was a little sugar high.
It just.
I remember coming out of that concert being like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to become a singer.
It just dawned on me that you were born the year I graduated. When you said you were 9, I was like, oh dear God.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm old.
Oh.
So, have you seen Ariana Grande live yet?
I have.
What is it like? And what tour was it?
I saw the Sweetener Thank You Next tour in LA 2019. The words, like they don't. She is unreal. She is the size of my pinky. She's wearing like these high, like 7-inch, like stripper heel boots. And like she had the long fucking ponytail. And it just makes her look shorter. Like, because her whole body is like compact.
Yeah.
But then she has like long on the bottom and like long on the top. But like she just like she sang nonstop. Her set list was like 38 songs.
Jesus.
Like I can't think of anybody else that's doing that. Maybe other than like Beyonce.
That was the only.
Is the only other I could ever think of that would do a concert that heavy-handed. Just. I mean.
The only other person I could think alive, I don't think anybody can do it but Beyonce. To be honest with you, I don't think anyone has.
That's what I mean. Like there's nobody doing it like her. And like her songs are not easy. They are not. They're
not the
easy
same
for her. Yeah, like she's using all of her registers. She danced more on that tour than I think she did in like past ones. Like, I don't know. Sometimes people really like it when like artists will like talk to them a lot during the concert, and like that's cool. She did talk, but like I swear to God, like she never shut the fuck up. She was just like it was just song after song after, and it just got better.
So
it was a perfect concert.
How was Seven Rings?
It was amazing.
That
was a show. That was like a showstopper. Like that was when they had a little costume change. They pulled out some props. Like it was an event, and it deserved to be because that was her number one. Exactly. I don't even know like what it fully was. I used to like kind of be an Ariana Grande hater. And I was like, I think her music is like kind of dumb, but I was too busy like trying to be like a real emo kid. And then I was like, oh, it's kind of okay to like multiple kinds of music.
Oh yeah.
And like I let myself like succumb to it.
Oh, I hated pop music up until I started bouncing. I was like, oh my God, this stuff is great. It was I'll actually tell you the name of the album. It's Femme Fatale, Britney Spears.
Oh, I love a good Britney Spears.
Like that entire album is great fucking workout music. Like
yeah.
But
she gets me pretty motivated.
So I want to move on to some fun stuff.
Sure.
You're a fan of Euphoria.
Yeah, I am. I liked the show.
Did you finish it?
I did. I did finish it.
What did you think of the second half of the season? The first few episodes for me, it seemed like it was un-Euphoria-ish, if that makes sense. It seemed like they tried to go too artsy for the first like 2 or 3 episodes, and then the episode where Dude's dad, then when Dude's dad had like the most dramatic breakdown in TV history. That was
so great. Honestly, I agree. I was pretty confused for the first 3-ish episodes. Like, this is my biggest complaint with Euphoria in general is that Sam Levinson abandons plot lines. Like, I felt like season 1 was so much more complete by the end. And like TV shows typically are supposed to operate or like tell their stories that way because a next season is never guaranteed. And it's like, yeah, like you have this really big successful show. But like now we have to wait 2 years for season 3 and you kind of just left me with like the most lackluster finale.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, like, I don't know. Like, Rue is a character I really root for. Like, it really, like, when Rue is, like, doing bad, like, it hurts my heart, honestly. Because it's, like, I feel like I just really got, like, attached to Rue. And, like, I was just like, she deserves better than Jules. And she deserves, better from herself.
Yes.
And, like, in the finale, they were like, Rue mentions that she was able to stay sober for the rest of the year. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, so...
give the girl a break.
And then watching that little... So that and back to the whole thing, like, everyone should have somebody in their camp like somebody. That shootout hurt my fucking soul.
That was really tough. That was, honestly, too, like... That was a tough way. That's a tough thing to see in general on TV, But that is, I did not think that Ashtray deserved that.
At all.
I was like, yeah, like if you were, they were really playing it up like, either Fez, Lexi, like I really thought Nate was going to kill somebody.
So did I.
Like that would have made almost more sense to have him come in. I thought it was going to be Nate who comes back into the play, shoots Lexi. That's what I thought was going to happen. Like he would shoot Lexi, shoot his dad, shoot himself, basically.
That's what I thought was going to happen when he walked into that warehouse.
Exactly. And then because he had a gun. And I was like, man, like Nate's a pussy, whatever. But like, still, I don't know. The the play thing too really felt like a cop out.
It did.
Like I liked.
Seemed like filler.
I liked it. Yes, like I liked it, and I also like Lexi as a character, and I was kind of like Lexi. Like the scenes were also amazing, you know. But like,
I guarantee,
you know, yeah, it was.
I guarantee you, that is going to become a Broadway play. The play that Lexi put on is going to eventually become a Broadway play. I think it's going to be very reminiscent.
That'd be interesting.
I think a smart creative person I've noticed with a lot of shows, they try to look towards the future, and
right.
And as we've seen recently, like with people wanting to get out more, as you brought up the Alanis Morissette Jagged Little Pill
right
musical, people like to go see performances, and I would absolutely go watch the story of Lexi for 2 hours or however long a musical is live because it was fantastic. The biggest thing for me and the biggest question that wasn't answered for me really pissed me off is, does Lexi know what happened to Dude?
Yeah.
And it's like Fez, that's the name. Thank you. I couldn't think of it.
Fez,
I got it here now. I couldn't remember his name. And like they work, and it was funny, like not funny, but it was heartwarming watching their conversation when they were like the montage of just them talking of like throughout the day.
Yeah.
While he's like counting drug money, and she's doing like wholesome shit in her room, and I'm just like, oh, and he's like getting together, and it's like, oh fuck, this isn't gonna end well for anybody. I can just see it now because there's always that one thing where you can feel a show like this where something awful has to happen.
Right. It's kind of like, you know, when Jesse from Breaking Bad would fall in love with anybody, he'd be like, well, you know, she's a goner. It's tough.
Also,
it's tough. I get really into the shows that I watch. Like, I'm very easy to fool. I'm not one of those people that can like put on a movie and like guess the ending right away, even if it's painfully like I'm experiencing it as it is occurring to me. So I'm very easy to like surprise, and like there are tropes like that where I'm just like, no.
Like even when I'm decent at it, I'm not great at it, but there are certain moments where, like, let's take Euphoria for example. I thought until Ruth said that she stayed sober, I was like, we're gonna find out she was high this entire time.
Right.
I was waiting for it, but I'm like, okay, that didn't happen. And one thing that bothered me, I had to look up her name. Kat, her whole storyline this season was pointless.
It was written completely out, and like, you know, that's the other unfortunate thing too, is like, I think this is what people mean to say when they say that Euphoria glamorizes like drugs and shit like that. Because Euphoria does introduce a lot of really important topics, but they fucking abandon them and then go back to like all the ecstasy and like this and that. So it's kind of like not only what happened with Kat, but like what happened with McKay season 1. Like that guy was, you know, assaulted by his frat dudes, and he's a straight black man. You know what I mean? Like there were so many
Oh shit, he was
avenues.
barely in the season. I didn't even think about that.
That's what I mean. There were so many avenues to open up that conversation, not only for men in general, you know what I mean, but like for a black man too. Like it's all so relevant right now and so important because it doesn't just only happen to women. And like if it's hazing, is it okay? Like there are so many elements in that cross so many like categories or like things that just need to be talked about more, and it was just completely abandoned.
There's a comic book I love, and it's funny when people say comic books are for kids. I'm like, you've never read a comic book in the last 40
they're
years
for adults.
And there's one in particular that I love. It's my favorite. It's called Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
And are you watching the show? Because I don't want to spoil anything for you.
No, I haven't seen.
There's a scene where he's sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the particular race that assaulted him is an alien race that goes based on power. And his father is part of that race. And then when he had the conversation with him, his father felt so bad because it's like, these are my people, these are their ways, but you don't
Right.
deserve that. And I like
Right.
that it wasn't necessarily a woman getting sexually assaulted, because it's a common trope, and it's used for people to get a cheap emotional boost out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But so,
No, because it happens to everybody. And with, you know, Euphoria and like Invincible and shows like that, exploring topics like mental health and race, you know, that's where like I was kind of like, yeah, the show's written by a white dude.
yeah.
You know, like you're up your own ass. You had all of this.
And I liked Euphoria this season, but I don't know if they peaked in the hour-long Rue episode. It was like in between season 1 and 2. I wonder if they peaked there. I hope they didn't, because Zendaya is just a fucking goddess on fucking earth.
Is so talented.
Like, I don't think she's among the people, when I look at her, like, there's really nothing you can't do.
Not at all. She's a fantastic like model. She's an amazing actress. You know,
and she can
like,
sing her ass off. Oh,
she can sing.
Oh, what's the name of that movie? The Greatest Showman.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like her and Zac Efron doing that scene when they're both singing, because they're both Disney kids who sang. And I'm like, dear God, this is so fucking good. And then
that movie was really good.
There was a really toxic movie she did on Netflix. It was in black and white, and I'm watching her just going, dear God.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, she's just so fucking good. So, I got a couple of fun games for you, so we can end this out. So before I start game 1, this one's going to be called Conspiracy Theories. I'm gonna start with some urban legends, some conspiracy theories. You tell me whether or not you believe in them, and then I'm gonna ask you what your favorite conspiracy theory of all time is, or favorite urban legend.
Word.
All right. So, do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Do you think you've ever seen an alien?
Yes.
I'm listening.
Okay. Granted, I was a little freaked out already, but in high school, my high school boyfriend and I were watching American Horror Story season 6, which is the Roanoke season.
Great fucking season.
And it's kind of like the Truman Show too, which it makes it a little underrated. It's not like the Truman Show and says that people are controlling it, it's the actors and real people, whatever.
Yeah.
Very freaky idea, and it really freaked me out because, like I just said, I get very into it with like characters, and I experience things with them. So I was like driving home from his house at night because we like watched an episode or something. We were all, you know, freaked out. Drive home, like 5 minutes down the road. I park, and like I just like look out, and there's like this like really like there's like this figure with like, you know, the typical looking like lights and shit, and they're like rotating. Like there's like 2 circles, one that's like going like vertically and one that's going like kind of diagonal horizontally. And I'm like just staring, and I felt like it was not moving closer to me, but like moving like sideways across the sky. So like not like traveling down, but it felt like it was moving closer, but like staying the same height in the sky, if that makes sense.
I got you. It was kind of moving across you from the sky.
Across, thank you. Why did I use all those words when I could have just said across?
You used all the $10 words.
Just across, thank you. Across the sky, and I got too scared because I felt like it was going pretty fast, and I got scared, and so like instead of like pulling out my phone to like take a picture or something, I got nervous and I went inside. I called my boyfriend. I was like, I just saw a UFO. And it was coming like, you know, I was like, it felt like it was coming like right at me. And he was like, what are you doing? Go find it again. Like, get out your camera. I'll stay on the phone with you. We go out, gone. Just completely gone.
Are there aliens in Area 51?
I think there's a fuck ton of shit in Area 51. But I don't, yeah, sure. We'll say sure. That's the short answer. I got opinions on this.
Oh, no. If you got time, I'm here to listen. I love a good conspiracy theory.
We'll go with sure. We'll go with sure.
Does Bigfoot exist?
Probably not.
Mermaids.
This is gonna make me sound really weird. I'm gonna say probably.
You're on team me because I have this conversation with my co-host. He says they don't exist. I say they do exist, and they look closer to the really, like, you ever seen the fish with the lights on the top of their head? And
yeah, we know nothing about the ocean.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Just like we know nothing about like life on other planets. Like, who are we to say no?
Exactly my point. Does is there a weather machine is there a machine that controls the weather in the world?
Oh no!
So I have
Sometimes it really does feel that way. I'm going to say no because again, like the Truman Show thing, gives me anxiety, and the whole simulation theory gives me anxiety.
Have you talked
So
to
I'm
Slade
going
about
to say I really hope not.
Have you talked to Slade about his whole simulation matrix theory?
Oh, Slade puts so many things in my head every time we talk.
I really gotta get the two of you guys on the show together just to play a fucking game. That's all I want to do is play
Oh
a game.
my god.
So,
yeah, no, we should, because like Slade, like every time I leave Slade's house, I'm like, I'm a little bit different now
he's
than when I walked in here.
So I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna sound very weird. He is probably my favorite comedian as a person because
That's totally valid.
He's done my show a few times and he has no fucking time to do this shit, but he does. He spent 2 fucking hours talking to me about nonsense. In the first episode he did one was fucking awful. I put it out. He did a second one with me, and that one was better. He did a third one. It's fucking great. But anyway, so funny theory about weather. My mother has a conspiracy theory that supermarkets have stock. No, the weather people who control, like meteorologists, have stock in supermarkets because whenever someone hears snow, people flock to the supermarket. So she has a conspiracy theory that meteorologists have stock in supermarkets because if you say a specific type of weather pattern, people are going to rush to the supermarket and then the stock go up because people have been purchasing stuff. So there's that.
I could see that. I could see that for sure.
The Loch Ness Monster.
I saw something online that was like, it was just a whale penis, but like, what fun is that? I saw something literally online that was like, people were like scarlet fever ridden seeing a whale dick. I think the Loch Ness Monster of Scooby-Doo is like, for some reason, one of the most formative pieces of media.
How are you old enough to know about that episode?
I had a relatively late 90s kid childhood because I was born in 2000. So we didn't have like newer shit till like 2006, I feel like, or 2006, 2007. But I'm going to say, why not? So, I think it could be real. Same thing, like we don't know fuck anything about the ocean.
There's that. Ghosts and demons.
Totally.
I'm not even going to bring up the New Orleans thing. And lastly, because you're from Texas, was JFK's assassination an inside job?
Oh, I'm going to get put on an FBI watch list.
They don't listen to this shit.
I'll say probably not.
Okay.
However, is anything that the U.S. government does ever not an inside job?
No.
Listen.
I'm a black man who was born in 1982, right around the crack epidemic. So
this is kind of exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even if maybe for some reason the consequences of actions are not fully realized. There's no way that anything happens and people do not know about it. And I'll say that.
And so, lastly, we'll get to my last two questions for you. Who would be the worst and the best drinking buddies on New Girl and The Office?
Okay, so your best drinking buddies on New Girl are going to be fucking all of them are drunk that whole time. Winston for sure. He's the best character on that show. No, Winston is totally the best character on that show.
Nick Miller is my spirit animal.
Oh, I would drink with Nick Miller too. I can't think of a person in the New Girl universe I wouldn't drink with, honestly. Like that show is amazing.
Yeah, I don't think there is a person I wouldn't.
I would drink with Dwight for sure. I would stay completely sober and get like I would. There are so many things like the CPR episode where he cuts the face off, and then he's like, "I wanted to see."
I know that.
You know, I didn't think it was realistic in the movie. Turns out it's pretty realistic. Shit like that. I like to surround myself with those people because they're crazy and hilarious. I would not drink with Karen from The Office.
Oh,
I don't feel like Rashida Jones. Honestly, Rashida Jones in like any show that she's been in, I don't feel like she and I would be friends. I think that she's not as dominant of a personality sometimes. Her characters, or at least Karen in the Office.
I could see that.
I feel like I would intimidate her. Is that like a fucked up thing to say? I don't know.
No,
I just don't feel like we would vibe. I wouldn't drink with Toby because he's creepy.
Oh God, is it? Wait, Toby. Which one's Toby?
Toby from The Office, the HR guy.
Oh, you mean Creed?
No, not Creed. I would drink with Creed because he's insane.
Which one's Toby?
I wouldn't drink with Toby or Ryan.
Oh, okay, Toby. No. Dear God,
yeah. No, God, no. Yeah.
I would love to drink with Jim Halpert just because I feel like it'd be fun. I'm not drinking with Pam.
I don't think I would drink with her either, actually. She's another character. I'm like, I don't think you and I would be friends.
She seems like a bummer.
A little bit.
And
a little bit.
And if we're being completely honest, so I have a friend who put me on it off. Actually, my wife put me on The Office. A buddy of mine loves it. It's like, you need to actually finish it. So Pam and Jim are not relationship goals. Pam was very toxic to Jim a lot towards the end of the season. And she was kind of like I fucking Jim while she was engaged to the other dude.
Yeah, the whole situation definitely, especially like rewatching it, feels so much more genuine from Jim's side. Where I relate to Pam is like, it's hard to know what you want sometimes.
Yeah, I can agree.
But like, it doesn't necessarily excuse. I felt like after they had a baby was when I was not vibing with Pam as much.
I think there's you've probably heard the trope that whenever a show's doing bad, they introduce a baby.
Oh, totally.
And I will say this, the ending of that with Jim and Dwight.
Yeah.
When he fired him, and he was like, come on, don't leave. He's like, no, you idiot. Now you get 6 months of pay. It was like, oh, that was their relationship, the way it evolved to like the last couple of episodes was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And we also got to say that Mindy and I can't remember his name. Mindy and Ryan.
And BJ Novak, yeah.
They have the best toxic relationship of all time.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And lastly, F, Marry, Kill. Ariana Grande, Cece from New Girl, Zendaya.
Oh, no. Kill myself, marry all of them.
How are you going to marry them if you killed yourself? It don't work like that.
I'll marry them first.
Wait, where are you in Utah?
Oh my god. That's not even...
This is why I asked the questions. This is why I ask questions before I record, just so I can get the thing.
Well, I have to kill Cece from New Girl because I need to fuck Zendaya and marry Ariana Grande. Or maybe I would actually flip that. I might marry Zendaya and fuck Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande, like, I have, like, the type of thing with her where, like, she's, like, on such a high pedestal for me. Like, I don't want, like, when people are like, she's probably a bitch, I'm like, shh, I don't want to know. I don't want to find out.
So, like, my best friend and my twin, Amanda, we all agree that Zendaya is a sex goddess.
Oh, yeah.
And we also feel that, like, she doesn't get off unless you cry during sex. like she sits there and you're having sex and she's just like, tell me about everything that's going on, and you just feel compelled to tell her your entire life. And
I feel like she could, like, be, like, empathetic to a point where that could be something for her. Totally.
Yeah, and
totally.
She's just like a goddess. Like she's Aphrodite in the flesh.
She really is. She is so beautiful.
And it's
like I could not pass up that opportunity. Also, though, Hannah Simone, who plays Cece in New Girl, she's like, before she was an actor, she was like I don't want to say a diplomat. She was not royalty, but she worked for the United Nations. She was like, she's very smart, is what I'm trying to say.
She reminds me of, when you say that, she reminds me of Jamila Al-Jamil from The Good Place. In terms of, like, not the look, but from, like, what she's done in terms of...
she's like a really big, like, now still, like, a human rights activist, but she did, like, used to do it for a career. She's very bright. She would be somebody I would hate to kill because she's definitely out here making the world a better place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But she was one of my favorite parts of this because she, like, just didn't give a fuck. And before we go, another thing about musicals, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was my shit.
I really enjoyed Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Again, it's kind of just, like, right up my alley. It's, like, absurd. It's silly, and it's a musical. It was very important as a young theater kid.
I could understand that, especially, like, watching her deal with all her mental health issues, and, like, I could understand a lot of her, like, obsessions and things like that.
Yeah.
Jess is, like, just someone who dealt with, like, I didn't have the same issues there, but just from someone dealing with mental health issues while you're trying to be single and you're trying to be an adult and you have all these voices telling you to do one thing when you want to do another thing, and it's like, what's the positive,
right.
What's the negative? It was fan-fucking-tastic. And I also have a obsession with Bella Lavelle. I forget her name in the show, but she's the really sarcastic one. She voiced Mermista in She-Ra.
Oh, my siblings love She-Ra. Is Mermista the one that who does her character date? What's his name?
Shit. I'm mad I don't know. I know his name. Fuck.
Does he have a mustache?
Yes.
So my siblings always say that me and my boyfriend remind them of Mermista and whatever his name is. I can't remember his name.
I have to look it up because he's one of, like, my favorite people on there. Because he,
he's like at her beck and call basically, and she's pretty sassy.
Is she sassy, or is she just one of the most cynical people known to humanity?
Oh, that's fair. That's a fair point. It's very funny. Because my siblings always say that me and my boyfriend remind them of Mermista and whatever his name.
What is his name? That's gonna annoy me. And let me just type in Mermista and it's gonna come up.
Yeah.
Seahawk.
There you go.
I love that guy. He was just the most flamboyant thing ever.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched it, watch The Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon. It's a 10 out of 10.
I have not watched it.
It's The Legend of Vox Machina. It's a 10 out of 10 on Amazon. It's fantastic. All right, so this has been the Old Man Wade Show. I want to thank Abbey Vollman for doing this. I don't want to take too much of your time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram. My username is from when I was 14, so it's weirdo WEIRDO my name ABBEY. You can find me on TikTok at strawberry, like the fruit, and then quip QUIP, like the electric toothbrush, or the phrase to describe somebody witty. That is my TikTok, where you can find Diaper Rash and all that fun stuff. I'm pretty searchable, so if you sign my name in somewhere, I'll probably pop up. You can stalk me. It's okay.
You also have I swear I saw you on YouTube where
I do have a YouTube channel. It is just under my first and last name. So.
Make sure you go watch that, because she tells a story about her goldfish. I think it was a goldfish.
Yeah.
Or fish in general.
Yeah, or my beta fish.
Your beta fish, which is absolutely hysterical. You find her on the Whiskey Buds. You can find her on Is This Thing On? Abbey Vollman is a great follow on Instagram. It's goofy.
Appreciate it.
It's funny. Don't be a creep. Because her boyfriend has a flamethrower.
That is a great reason to not be a creep.
Because her boyfriend has a flamethrower. So yeah, this has been the Old Man Wade Show. Thank you everyone for listening, and as always, be excellent to each other. Peace.
Damn it, Wade!